It is without a doubt one of the most frequently asked questions in the furniture restoration industry, and my answer to the question might be a little controversial and might ruffle the feathers of some. So this ought to be a lot of fun. Stick with us, and we got an update on some tools. Hey folks, it's John with KG Woodworks, and today we're going to talk all about the impact refinishing is going to have on your furniture's value. It's a question that I get asked constantly. Aside from how much is this going to cost me, it's the second most frequently asked question that I get and have gotten for the last 15 years. So we're going to get into that in a second, but I do want to update you because in the first video you saw I said I don't have any tools, I'm starting with nothing. Well, guess what? A few weeks ago, I did a video on my KG Tropicals channel where I announced that I was going to be making this channel, and I explained that I didn't have any tools. Well, a good friend and a loyal customer to KG Tropicals emailed me a few days later and said, hey John, guess what? I've got a garage full of tools that I don't even use. I've got some work that I'd love to get done. Maybe if you do this work for me, we can work it out to where you can borrow some of these tools until you get your own. Patrick Lindsay is this customer's name. He has become a dear friend, not just because of this, but we've really gotten to know him and his family, and the way that these people are helping us out, you wouldn't even know. And I cannot go into all the details, but just an amazing group of people. And I can't thank them enough. They've let us borrow some tools here. We've got a contractor table saw, which is portable and nice because I can move it over to the side. We've got this benchtop drill press, some sanders, a router, some things that I'm not probably going to use every day, but it's still something to have in here because you never know when you're going to need them. So thank you so much, Patrick. That's a really big deal. And in return for him letting us borrow these tools, we're going to do two incredible projects for him. One of them is probably the most requested video that I ever get, and that is building a custom aquarium stand. We're going to have a blast with that. I'm not going to go into details about it, but it's going to be something that's going to be really special. So kind of fits between both channels. I love it. The second is a piece of furniture which has been in his family since the 1850s. It was built by his great-grandfather. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's actually sitting right here. I'll show it to you at the end of the video when we're talking about furniture value. But big thank you to Patrick and his family. This is a really big deal for us, and I cannot thank him enough. So, all right, let's get into what we're really here to talk about. If I refinish this piece of furniture, what impact is that going to have on the furniture's value? It's a question that I get constantly for the last 15 years. All right, I took a few years off, but anyway, since I started doing this, it's a question that I get constantly. And it makes sense because a lot of people are just curious to know what the value of their piece of furniture is. And my answer to them might be a bit controversial, and it kind of confuses people because my answer is, well, you're the only one that can determine that. And they go look at me and they say, huh? Does that mean I can just put whatever value on my furniture I want? No, it doesn't work that way. But your plan, your intentions for this piece of furniture is going to dictate what that piece's value is. Here's what I mean. Let's say you're a big fan of the show Fast and Loud, which I happen to be. You watch that show and you say, you know what, they're taking old cars, fixing them up, and then selling them for a profit. I want to do that, except I don't have that kind of money, so I want to do it with furniture. I'm going to go to these estate sales and storage sales and auctions and all this kind of stuff, and I'm going to buy all this furniture. I'm going to take it to John over there at KG Woodworks, and I'm going to have him refinish it. It's all going to look beautiful, and then I'm going to sell it for big profits. If that is your intention, folks, you're going to be very disappointed, because antique furniture, if it is truly antique furniture, is more valuable in its original state, even if that original state is not perfect. My ex-mother-in-law is an antique dealer. She still is. She's somebody in this industry that I respect a whole lot. And years ago, 20 years ago, when I started having these ideas of refinishing furniture, I would go to her and I would say, hey, you got a house full of hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of antiques. Let me come in here with my brushes and my markers and my sandpaper and fix all this stuff. And she said, whoa, no. You definitely don't want to do that, because a piece that is refinished or repaired is worth less than if it was in its original state, even if it's got some flaws. So if you go to an antique dealer or an appraiser and you have a piece of furniture and you say, how much is this piece of furniture worth? one of the first questions they're gonna ask you is it original? Has it been repaired? Has it been refinished? Because that is gonna determine a lot of the value of that piece. So, again, if you go to estate sales and you're buying furniture and you're buying it cheap and you want to sell it for a profit, just sell it for a profit. Don't do anything to it before you sell it. Maybe wax it, clean it up and make it look nice, shine the brass, but don't refinish it. I know I'm taking work away from me, but that is a big mistake because in the antique world, people want originality. It's not like automobiles. You find that 69 Camaro behind somebody's house that's rusty and on blocks, and you put $25,000 into restoring that, you've just got yourself a car that's probably worth 70 grand. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out. But you got a car that's worth a whole lot more than the money you put into restoring it. Furniture doesn't work that way. You'll actually be losing money by doing it that way. So believe it or not, if you buy a piece of furniture and an appraiser tells you it's worth $1,000 in its original state, if you refinish that piece, it's probably going to be worth $500. So complete waste of money. You don't want to do it. Now, the next scenario would be the customer who comes in and says, I have this piece of furniture. I got it from my great-grandfather, Patrick Lindsay, and I want to keep this in the family. It's something that I want to pass down from generation to generation. I want to give it to my daughter someday, and I want it to stay in the family. Well, that's the kind of person that, why do you care what the value of that piece of furniture is? You're not going to sell it. For insurance purposes, all right, but an insurance company is never going to value your piece at what you want them to. So what's the concern? Why do you care what it's worth? For those customers, when they come in here, I tell them, this piece is worth way more to you than it would ever be to an appraiser. So sentimental value means a lot. And if you have a piece that you're attached to and you want to make it nice so that you can pass it down from generation to generation, put as much money as you want into it because you're not concerned about that piece's value. Does this make sense? So those are the people that I do most of my work for. People that just want to have this piece in their house because it looks nice and they're into antiques and they want to keep it for a long time and they want it to look brand new, or maybe not brand new, but you know what I mean. Or it's a piece that's been in the family and they want to keep it in the family, so they want it to be perfect. So those are really the two scenarios. People that want to sell it or refinish it because they think that it's going to be worth more once it's refinished, or people that just want to keep it nice and preserve it for future generations. One scenario, perfectly acceptable to refinish. The other scenario, it doesn't work. Because you put all that money, you pay me $500 to refinish a piece of furniture, and then you find out it's only worth $500, you're gonna be pretty upset. So if it's original and you plan to sell it, keep it in its original state, even if it has some flaws. But if you wanna keep it forever, have it refinished, throw a bunch of money at it, help me pay the bills, and that'll work out perfectly. So I hope that this makes a little bit more sense of the whole thing. I know I rambled on for 5 minutes or so, but it's such a common question that I felt like it was important to dedicate an entire video to it. So really quick, let's step away and take a look at these two pieces of furniture that we're going to be working on in the next coming weeks. Okay, so I'm not going to talk too much about this piece, but I'm going to show you this piece because this is a good example of a piece of furniture that has no sentimental attachment to this customer at all. This is a piece of furniture that she bought for $5 at a thrift store, seriously, and she wants to put some money into it because she has the perfect spot in her house that she wants it to go in, and she wants it to look better in her house. So perfect example of one that is worth putting money into. It's a good piece of furniture, it's a quality piece of furniture, and it's going to look really nice when it's done. We're going to talk more about this piece in the video where we start to work on it, but for now I'm just trying to give you a good example of a piece of furniture worthy of putting some money into because you don't really care about the value. You paid $5 for it. Okay, and piece number 2. This is Patrick Lindsay's piece. This is the piece that means a lot to his family. This piece is worth way more to them than it is to you or to an appraiser. And so for them wanting to keep this piece of furniture in the family forever, because it's already been in the family forever, they want to put some money into it. and have it look nice so that they can showcase it in their home. Again, when we start working on this piece, I'm gonna go into a whole lot more detail about it to talk about the history of it and everything else. But this is a really cool piece of furniture. It's got some really nice character, which is what I call it. And I think that what we do to this piece is gonna be pretty cool. I think you're gonna enjoy it. I'm a little nervous about it because it is so old and it means so much to them. But this is one of the pieces that we're gonna be working on in return for using the tools. So really excited about that. And again, this is a piece that is a good example of something that is absolutely worth putting money into. So there you have it, a look at 2 future projects that we're going to be working on in this channel, and I hope I've enlightened you a little bit on furniture's value and the impact that it might have if you refinish it. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of really cool stuff coming out in the near future. I think we're going to have some fun with this channel, and as it grows, I promise, we're going to be doing some work with the lighting and with the sound. I know I'm echoing, I sound like I'm in some kind of a theater. We're going to be working on that, I promise, but hopefully we're going to be getting some really good stuff in here, and we're going to be having a lot of fun. So you might want to go ahead and subscribe, and while you're at it, there's a button next to it with a little thumb like that. Go ahead and click that. Let's see if we can get a whole lot of likes on these videos. So thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on the next episode.